like doing the skate thing. Like for you, obviously you like have been skateboarding for a minute. You've been fucking almost. I've seen footage of you in Tampa Am. You know what I mean? So like you've been doing it for a while.
Yeah, I'm a little skateboarding slut. I've been everywhere.
Been passed around.
Yeah.
So you've been on like a ton of companies, and you've done like the whole almost like, because when I first saw you on Dale's channel, I feel like you were really making fun of YouTube. Like you're just like you're like, dude, it's not but like you're like, yeah, it's not fucking like, almost like you're a core skater but not, you know what I mean? And I don't know, I just kind of want to talk about like that, kind of like going from that, you know what I mean? Because before YouTube, you were on Powell like just very recently. So
yeah, I mean, like, well, I still, there's my boys, his pal boys. Yeah, so for me, the YouTube transition, and I talk about it a bunch on my channel, it's money. So yeah, like basically, like I never was fucking anybody in skateboarding. Like but
you were on a shit ton of companies, and you did it for a while.
For shit, you know what I mean? But I was never like nobody. You know, I was like never like a dude. You know, I was never like on a level of like even your average C-list amateur skater. Like I was never where Matt Allen was or something like that, like some dude who rode for Foundation. I was just always kind of like under the radar. I was always decent at skating, but never quite good enough to get like the final, like, oh, I'm fully on a company and people are paying attention to me. I was never getting like photos in Thrash or anything. Like I had a couple photos in a couple skate magazines, but it was never anything like relevant. It was usually like ads for the sponsors that I had. And for the most part, I was never really like part of like the cooler cliques either. Like I mean, on the East Coast, I remember I went out with all the bus crew guys, which is like Gilbert Crockett and all those guys.
Oh, okay.
And then
that dude's fucking rad.
Dude, Gilbert Crockett, that whole squad, all those dudes are super talented. And like Will's their filmer, and so my buddy DJ, who I still film with to this day, they were collabing on a video, and like I went out and like I filmed with all those cool guys, and they were like really nice to me. But then I don't know, they found out that I was a fucking another kook, and they were just like, they just don't fuck with me anymore. They just stop fucking with me. So I've never been like, I think it gets misconstrued that some people think I came to YouTube from some sort of like I was somebody in skating. Like I fucking didn't really do much. I just got like a little bit of attention from some skate companies, but I don't consider myself anywhere near, like I would have never made it in skating. Like my skill level was never to a point where like I would have had a career in skating. But
was that the initial goal? Because I feel like that's kind of everybody's goal in the beginning.
No, in the very, very beginning, yeah. But once, so I rode for Stereo.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I was getting board. Let me rephrase. I was getting boards from Stereo, and I was
pro for Stereo.
Yeah. So after my first pro mod for Stereo, so I came out to California to try to make something happen with Stereo. And right when I came out here, the team manager at the time just wasn't team manager anymore. And then there was this guy who was like running it. His name was Matt Williams. He's he was a really talented filmer, and he was like a fill-in team manager. And so it was like, yeah, like come out here, well, like we'll meet up in LA and we'll try to film some shit. And I was like fucking so stoked. Like I was like, I'm gonna like do something with skating. And like I'm 21 or something like that. I'm like really like hucky back then. If you look at my like really old footages, I was very handraily and like jumpy.
Really?
Wore tight pants. Yeah, I was like the whole. I really like like my
tight
favorite
pants.
Yeah. I was all about that shit.
Yeah.
And so I came out here, and the flow team at the time was Ryan Spencer, Tony Carr, and then we randomly would go out with Elijah Burley all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and this is when Elijah was still like in his I want to be Corey Duffel phase.
So
he had like long dangly earrings. He was riding for Foundation, I think, at the time or some shit. Yeah, he was like, he's gone through a lot of changes.
Oh yeah, now he's who was that?
Well, he
Dylan Reeder.
Yeah. Well, he did the Dylan Reeder, and now he's more the greaser. He's more greaser thing going on, the Ave thing.
Oh, okay.
He switches it up, and that's cool. If you want to dress
Phases,
a certain way, by all means, go for it.
Drives a Porsche. So.
Yeah, so I remember like going out with those guys, and it was a mix of seeing what happens if you make it in skating, like meeting pro skaters and like learning about how much they're not making, learn about like how little of a future there is in it, mixed in with like how much fucking better Ryan Spencer was than me, and like not even just like better, like I remember we would go to spot, like the Bravery was just mind-boggling to me. Like I remember we went to this 12 rail, and I was like thinking really hard about like what trick I could do on it. Like, oh man, I want to get like a clip. And they were just, before they even figured out what trick they wanted to do, they were just playing with the 12s there, like 50-50, Smith grind, 5-0, front lip, back lip. And I was just like shaking in my boots, just like to jump on it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh yeah, I can't do this. And like, if I do get myself mentally to the level of where I can do this, this isn't what I want to do. So I went back to the East Coast. I just moved back. I quit all my sponsors. Like I at the time, I think I was
Irish exit. Just
I'm
out.
Yeah, I think at the time I was like riding for like Silver Trucks, and then I was getting stuff from Stereo, and I was just like I just stopped hitting everyone up. I was like, I don't want to ride for anything. And then just was like, I need a real job, and then started trying to get into like different trades, and then like I worked in an iron foundry, and then finally I found road work construction, and I stuck with that for a couple years.
Holding signs.
Yeah, I did do that actually. I did do the fucking stop and go paddle. I started off in stone and dirt, which is like stuff with a grade all, so like just like digging and shovel
work shit.
Yeah, that shit. And then I like ran the roller for a second on the dirt. I got to like be with the dirt crew, and then they offered. My boss was like, yeah, if you go to the MOT, maintenance of traffic, it's a faster road to becoming quote unquote a foreman. And I was like, because no one wanted to do it.
Isn't that the easiest job?
It's the worst job because you're standing still doing nothing for a while. But he was like, the deal was I'd go to this scaled road that paid $31 an hour, which to me at the time sounded like an infinite amount of money. So I was like, fuck yeah. And then like I got the job and it was awful, and it was But I did it for a long time.
Yeah.
And it was.
I whenever I see that person, I'm like, how much fucking money are they making?
They make good money.
I bet.
Like, yeah, you can make good money doing that.
I'm like, damn, dude, I would get fucking sunburnt to do that.
Not worth it. I would not recommend that job to any. What was cool though was I got my buddy Jake a job there, so like it would be like me and him on the walkie-talkie, and then my ex-girlfriend also worked there, and then she ended up getting like a job like in a different section of it to where she was like testing, like, and I just like see her around, so like that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
The flip side though is you work with a bunch of fucking racist cocksuckers who like just like non-stop, like, dude, and especially I was in Baltimore when like the Black Lives Matter thing was going on, and I'm like working with all these fucking diehard like the literally legitimately like racist people. I got a guy fired actually because he did the Hitler salute to me.
Whoa.
Yeah, he was like a truck driver, and he like did a Hitler salute, and I told one of my superintendents, I was like, hey,
just hit a quick Hitler.
He just fucking did that, and he was like, oh, I'll fucking I'll say something to him, and he did it again, and I was like, hey man, like he's still doing that shit, and he's like, well, that guy's fired, and he went and fired the guy. I was like, sick.
That's dude, that is bizarre.
Dude, people
that is so weird to just like hit a quick.
Dude, yeah, just threw it out there.
It's fucking terrible.
Yeah, so yeah, fuck that guy. So yeah, I'm glad I'm not a part of that shit either. Yeah, that job sucked. There was definitely a lot of terrible people that I worked with.
Yeah, like whenever people are like that in jobs, like when I've been a waitress, I was never a waitress.
I'll never forget the day you were a waitress.
I made a beautiful waitress. No, when I was a waiter, like the crew there is always absurd, like in the service industry.
It's like the movie Waiting.
Yeah, so like people just like we had one bartender, and it was in Portland, and we had one bartender who was just like an old dude. He was just like, you hate liberals, don't you? No, I was just like,
what a great way to start a conversation.
That's the thing I do with like people like that. I'm just like, dude, of course. Like I always just go along with it. I'm like, yeah, I fucking hate him, bro. Like, I can't stand him. And he's like, yeah, I mean, Portland used to be such a good town. I mean, look at it now. It's just, everybody's so annoying, and everybody hates Trump, and Trump's a good guy. And I was like, yeah, dude, he's the best.
Dude, it's like, fuck yeah, dude. I fucking love Trump.
I fucking love that guy.
I can't even fucking begin to get into politics just because like I hate so much about the Democratic Party, and I hate so much about the Republican Party. I'm just like, why do we have a two-party system that doesn't make any fucking sense?
Nobody agrees on anything.
No,
nothing ever works.
I don't give a fuck who you are. Biden sucks. Like, Biden is a terrible president. Donald Trump was also a terrible president.
He's barely a president.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Barack Obama was a terrible president. George Bush was a terrible president. Like, we just get... Yeah, I don't even want to get into it. There's so much fucking war crime and fucked up shit going on.
Joe Rogan would be a great president.
Oh, God, fuck no. That guy would
Everybody, it's GMT day.
Dude, I can only imagine. He's too wishy-washy.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to, so anyways, I was over the skateboarding thing. I ended up riding for 1031, and then I ended up getting on Friendship, and then I went from Friendship to POW. That's when I moved out here. So I moved out here, I started getting stuff from POW, and I remember I was skating at HP Vans, and I was getting their sponsors, but by all means, I was over trying to make it in skating.
Yeah.
I had no intent to have a board with my name on it. I still don't. Like, I still have no intention to make it in skating. So the team manager, DeVille, was just watching me skate, and he was just like, dude, I think you're sick. Would you want to ride for Pal? And I was just like, not really. Like, I don't... Like, I told him my deal. I was like, listen, I really don't want to have to skate for a job. Like, I don't want to wake up in the morning and think to myself, I have to grind this rail. Or...
like the Jeremy Rogers thing.
Yeah, like, I don't want to feel that pressure. And DeVille is so fucking sick. He was like, you don't have to do that. Like, just... I'll send you boards, and we'll see how it goes. And me and DeVille just became friends, and I would go out with the guys. I never filmed one single fucking clip with DeVille or got a photo with any of those guys or anything, but I filmed that part that came out on the Barracks separately. So that's...
Dirty Dancing?
Yeah, that's what they used as like a excuse to put me fully on the team as an amateur.
Yeah.
Because I'm always going to film parts. I'm filming a part right now. I love filming video parts, but there's...
Yeah, you crank them out, too.
Yeah, all I want to do is make the parts so they're fun to do.
Dude, yeah, I watched Dirty Dancing last night. I mean, I do every time before I interview somebody.
Every night you watch that. Every time you have an interview, you watch my Dirty Dancing part. That makes sense.
How'd you know that?
Yeah.